Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
Good day, viewers around the world. It's morning here in Milan, and I'm here with George Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. George,
good morning, Massive Mark. Happy Friday, TGIF.
Yeah,
it's a good day.
Yeah, thank God.
We just want to welcome the viewers from around the world on our Friday international news.
Yeah, you're welcome, George. Thank you. So, hope it's well. Hope you're well. Hope the protests in Canada, we see some protests going on in some parts of Canada. I hope it's not affecting much of people's life. Is that true? Are there protests some places? Muslims praying, blocking the road, and people angry. What's that thing we're seeing? Tell us.
Well, it's really groups that exercise their constitutional rights over whatever they feel like they're not being represented. So it's a very peaceful environment here. So people have the right to get permission and go and protest. So people are doing what they can. Some companies are protesting over on certain not getting their rights. So you see that a lot here, but it's all peaceful civil protest. So it's nothing to run home about.
All right. Thank you. Well, let's hope that it's the same in Nigeria as Raji Olayinka joins us from Lagos, Nigeria. Good morning, Raji.
Good morning, Sir Ma. Good morning, Sir George. Good morning, viewers around the world. Yes.
Yes. It's good to have you here again this morning, Raji. So, gentlemen, let's just run back. It's past anyway, but we saw Trump and the wife having some real good time in the UK, and we checked what was his reason to come to the UK. They say there's some great groundbreaking tech partnership that has been struck. George, what's Trump doing in the UK? What did Canada see from that?
Yeah. Well, anyway, there's it was being described by Kinshasa. It's being described as being thrilled with President Trump's state visit, and with a source saying that it couldn't be better. So, and then he had a meeting with the prime minister also, where deals were signed. They're focusing on the future. In an unusual move, Prince William and Kate Middleton also played a major high-profile role, including a private, warm and friendly meeting with the Trumps. And so there has been some, Trump in his way, when he's happy, he praises. So at the state banquet, President Trump paid a very personal tribute to the Prince and the Princess of Wales, telling William he had an unbelievably successful future, and calling Kate a radiant, healthy, and so beautiful. Trump in his ways. So this is strengthening the bonds. The visit, which included a jovial state banquet and a personal tour for the Melania Trump, is seen as strengthening the special relationship between the two nations. Now, this is something that you will not hear from any news. This is something you will hear from here. The reason why this special state visit stemmed from Trump's, intended threat about annexing Canada. Now, remember, Canada belongs to UK. Do you understand? It's one of those Commonwealth nations. So when you start threatening to take over Canada because it's in the proximity with the US, So what you have to understand, that is a diplomatic move being made. And when you praise that man, he will back off. So it was a gentle reminder that we are the royalties. And then also, please don't forget that this nation that you are talking about threatening to annex belongs to us. So these are things you will not hear from the news. But I tell you what, it's a royal diplomatic move that they made, and it was a fantastic one indeed.
Fantastic one indeed, George. Before George comes in, let's just see some highlights of what happened during two days visits. Now, what you're seeing, gentlemen, what you're seeing, viewers, is Trump and the King being chariot driven. What we heard is that there has never been this much chariot horsemen and such very elegant reception for American President George. That was really elegant. I mean, bringing all the horsemen.
It was out of this world. What they did for Trump here, they've never had it that way before. Now you're gonna ask, the question is, why would a section of UK, quite a few number of people, they paid a lot of money and put a huge picture of Trump and Epstein, to make sure that the world is watching and they know that there's a relationship between Epstein. But what they did was they moved this reception away from the area so that the protests will be going on, but it will not be captured. So that's exactly what happened. But I'm telling you that this state visit was intentional. And it is, overwhelmingly to let Trump know, listen, you're dealing with a grounded, fundamental, foundational state that you can't touch. So that's what it is, right there. Ask yourself, why would they do that?
Let's hear Nigeria. Let's hear how Africa, Raji saw that. Raji, you were following the event too. What will your summary be? I think Raji's frame is frozen.
Yeah, I think it's just a mark of respect for. Is it frozen? Yeah, I'm sorry about my network again.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead. We can hear you.
It's just a mark of respect for the United States and then for their president on a visit to a former colonial master, because America used to be a colony of Britain. Okay. So it's just a mark of respect. It shows how regal the British royalty is in giving respect even to a buffoon if they have to. As for the threat of annexing Canada, I think it's just a peculiar nightmare of Trump himself, to be thinking, delusion at the very least, to be thinking that he could annex Canada.
Okay. Thinking he could annex Canada. But a lot of those kind of delusion becomes reality, Raji. These days, things are moving at a
As
very, very strange.
things are happening all over the place. We would have called it
Yes,
delusion
yes,
10 years ago to think that Russia will go after Ukraine, but it's happening. And we would have called it a delusion that China is trying to annex Taiwan. But if Russia
Mhm.
had succeeded, you would have seen China rise up to do it. So don't think that, there are things that are being done to stop the madmen of this, century from trying to do some crazy things. So don't think it's delusional. And it is not delusional because if you come into America today, you will see a lot of things people are thinking that could have it's almost impossible to do in a democratic nation like US, but it's happening today in the United States
It's
of
happening
America.
to you.
So there's no delusion
Thank you,
with
Chuck.
this. He's testing
No
the ground and
delusion.
he's moving rapidly, if
Yeah.
allowed.
Gentlemen, added to what he came to do, one of the things he told Sir Stemmer was to use military to stop illegal immigration into the UK. People weren't too comfortable with that. He said it loud in the speech. Raji, now he's bringing the American plan to. He wants the British man to behave like the American and block people, arrest people, hold down immigrants, stop people from moving to other country. Can this work? Will Britain also adhere to that advice?
If Britain didn't want immigrants, they shouldn't have gone abroad colonizing countries. Most of the people who are
Mm,
immigrants in Britain, most of them are from the former colonies that Britain ravaged during their colonial days. They are coming back for payback, for payback.
mm.
But most people have loved to stay in their countries until Britain came in to disrupt their livelihood.
Hmm.
You
I
see
will
that
agree
happen.
with that. George,
No,
George,
he's very correct. He's very
you know,
correct because you've seen it with France
yes,
too.
yes. When you go to touch somebody's house, they will come after you again. They will find their way into your own house. So I don't think
You
that
came,
advisable
you
because
came, you brought you brought your religion to them. You brought your
Mhm.
language to them. You
Yeah,
brought you brought
yeah,
you discarded their own cultural heritages and imposed yours on them. What do you
yeah,
expect? What do you expect? So that's
yes.
exactly right.
Well, as for the record, what I know presently in the UK is UK is doing more to immigrants. Even this government is even doing more. Immigrants are kept in five-star hotels as settlements, and the citizens are angry. That's why they're also protesting. Why too much recognition, too much attention is given to immigrants? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for that news update. UK viewers, we just finished talking about Trump in the UK, Trump and wife. And gentlemen, did you see how gorgeous the wife was looking? Melania brings in
Melania
those beautiful.
she is she is off the hook. Melania was looking
She
so
has it.
beautiful.
She knows how to put those clothing together. She has that
But
good
I tell
sense
you
of.
what, though, when it comes to Trump and his wife, they're out there when it comes to looking good. they,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they look good.
All right,
They look good. Yes,
they look
yes.
good. Thank
I
you,
love it.
guys. Let's do a quick Nigerian news. Yesterday we heard the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reinstated the government of Rivers State, even though he was yet to assume office. That's Similaye Fubara. Gentlemen, we are in a country where the president can take any governor out and bring him back. Is this democracy? Raji, let's start with you. Give us what happened yesterday in Rivers State.
Yeah, just that the president, the governor, is coming back to power after that illegal suspension of the governors and the state assembly. and imposition of a sole administrator. I hope and I pray that this never happens again, because it was illegal, just as it was illegal for the National Assembly to suspend Senator Natasha. I'm happy that sanity is prevailing, and I hope that Simi Fubara will have his time in office undisturbed. They have been disturbed enough. And also that the godfather, who is the very basis of all the disruptions in River State, will be put on a leash.
Put on leash. Okay. Before we continue, let's also bring in Russia, our big man, Dr. Godwin Ibe. Dr. Godwin, are you here with us? It's good to see you.
Yes, good to see you. Can you hear me? I'm having problems getting.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, Dr. Godwin. Okay. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm glad.
Nice. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Welcome back, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy to be back amongst you.
All right. Yes. Dr. Godwin, just conversing on this Fubara River State and what's happening there. So Raji was giving us the update. Let's hear Raji conclude. Raji, conclude. Tell us what more on that whole thing yesterday.
Yes, I think that the powers that the president assumed in suspending the governor and the assembly in the River State was illegal. And I hope that this will be the last time that the president will assume the power to remove the representative of the people from government. I pray that the godfather of River State, that is Wike, will now be put on a leash and will be actually, and I hope that the elders of River State have spoken to him that they should let go of the reins of power in River State. His time is over. Let the present governor use his time as governor of River State undisturbed.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. We know it's Friday, international update. Dr. Godwin, are you following the Rivers situation? Yesterday was supposed to be the reinstating day, but the governor also wasn't there. People waited for him. He was yet to, they didn't see him. Are you following the story from Russia?
I'm not following it too closely, although I heard about it, and I think from what I've gathered so far, it doesn't seem to be constitutional. It seems to be a breach of constitution, but I need to get the full details to be able to draw a conclusion. But what most people are saying is that, I'm not aware of any of such precedents where the president goes into a state city governor. I haven't seen it in recent history. If you know any country that does this, it sounds very strange to me, unless there are circumstances or peculiarities of circumstances that I'm not conversant with. But it seems very strange and unconstitutional. But I may be wrong, and I would love to be proven wrong to the benefit of Nigerians.
Okay, Dr. Godwin, I heard you faintly. I don't know if the volume could be adjusted, but I heard you. I heard you. I don't know if the viewers heard you though.
Is it better now?
Aha, better now. Good.
Now I'm basically screaming. Yes, I said from what I heard,
okay.
It's unconstitutional. I haven't seen this anywhere. There's no country I know in recent history that does this, unseats a governor. But like I said, I'm ready to admit that I am wrong if I'm not aware of other peculiarities of this circumstance, because I haven't followed it very deeply. But what I hear is there's a consensus that is unconstitutional, but I may be missing out something. So I think we'll get to the point in due course.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You're not listening. What you're hearing is correct.
Go ahead, George.
what you are hearing is correct. It is an unconstitutional move. I say that what
Your voice is breaking.
George, we want to hear that thing, beautiful insight you're giving, but your voice is breaking. Okay. Anyway, yes, right. Godwin, you're not you have it. You have it. Even if you say you're not too informed on it, but that's what you said is exactly how it is. It's not constitutional at all. You don't have that. It's unless there's an emergency, a state of emergency, and Rivers never came to that state. There was no emergency. It was just some verbal utterances going on between some officials, and in fact, nobody even nobody touched anybody, and from nowhere we heard the man has been taken off. Raji, you want to tell us, as at this morning, what's the situation? Is he back? Has he resumed office?
I think he's back
since Fubara.
I think he's back in River State. I don't know whether he has resumed office or not until probably later in the day. The suspension was lifted yesterday, and that which was the end of the 6 months period. And I understand he's in River State. I don't know whether he has resumed office. Maybe this morning.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. Viewers, this is it. We're here. I hope you guys can all hear me. Yes. We're here on our Friday international update. George, you were going to say something before your network went off. Do you want to? Okay, let's come to some more international news. Is there any update from the French situation? France has been going through a lot this past week. In fact, at the point the government almost collapsed. Now, what we heard is that the people are really out there in numbers. As at this morning, they've descended on the streets of Paris. They call it Day of Rage. They are a group of people called anti-Macron's team, and they are really scattering everywhere. They are angry with Macron's policy, economic plan, everything. Russia, are you hearing that from your place? Are you following the France situation? We know France is always protesting. France is now a home of protests. So Russia, do you have anything from France on your end?
Yes, of course. If you ask them, they would say it's democracy. The instability, the road blockage, the economy coming to a halt, the violence. If you ask them, what do you call it? It's democracy.
Democracy.
Yes. And I would like to stress the third and fourth syllables, democracy. Yes. It's you would accuse Russia, maybe you would accuse Belarus, the usual thing of they are the non-democratic, the autocratic, as we hear from the Western media, but you hardly see such kind of protest, at least frequently. There's a general, the president has a very high approval rating, and we shouldn't actually be surprised because the policy of EU right now, with the high inflation and the deindustrialization, they are still able to cough out a lot of money for foreign aid, for example, to Ukraine and other war theaters around the world. There's opportunity cost to this policy, and somebody has to pay the bill. Somebody has to pay the price. Of course, jobs will have to be lost. There will have to be some social cut-off. There will have to be some people that will have to pass through tough times for the government to be able to feed their appetite to sponsor wars and to sponsor Ukraine and all of that, and to buy more expensive energy, for example, LNG from the United States, which is had this markup of 30% compared to what they were getting from Russia. So I think
Yes.
all these
Yeah.
cumulate to making life difficult. I think, and I'm not saying this to slight any particular country. I'm saying this so that common sense will kind of prevail and people will do what is in the citizens' best
interest. Okay, Raji, France, thank you so much, Godwin, Dr. Godwin. France has been the center of protests in the last year, decades. But before we talk more, let's see what was happening last night in Paris. Let's see.
On est battu. Médite.
Gentlemen, to an extent, is France situation not? Can we relate it to these countries that have cut themselves off from the colonial master? Raji, is it a ripple effect of Mali, Niger, and all these French African countries that have pulled out from them? What could you say, Raji?
You see, historically, France is essentially has been propped up by her colonies, first by Haiti, on which they extracted over almost $20 billion reparation from Haiti because the Haitian slaves decided to free themselves. That is since the 18th century. Now that some of the West African countries like Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have cut off from the banditry and the exploitation of France, France is essentially descending into a third world country, if not worse. France dependence on its former colonies has come to an end, and France still sees itself as a strong country in Europe, instead of accepting that look, they have to come to a certain reality that all the gold and minerals that they are exploited from the West African countries have come to an end, and therefore they have to start living according to their own means. And France doesn't seem to have any other resources to live on except on its colonies. And since this has been cut off, France is actually getting into turmoil. To make matters worse, you have the President Macron, who ab initio doesn't seem to have a mind of his own to be able to decide for himself the kind of wife he could take.
Yes, we'll come to that. That's a topic. Yeah, that's a topic that will be addressed later. All right, George. George, you're there. I hope you can hear us now. Georgie. We still can't hear you, George. Okay, Godwin, yes, you said so much, and very true. One other thing is budget cuts and the economic situation of France. How come now all of a sudden France is not meeting up with his budget and it's cutting budget? I mean, all kinds of financial situations happening in France. Godwin, how will you analyze that?
Yes, it's not only the fact that they are cut off from their colonies, but also the fact that their policy with migration. So when you go into other countries and you destabilize it, you create an influx of migrants, and somehow
Migration.
And
Mm-hmm.
last but not the least, the inability to come to reality, which I said before, in terms of government expectations
Accept
and
the
reality.
present situation of things. Mm-hmm. All right. Um. Yes. Thank you very much, Godwin. Right, George. I hope George can really hear us now. But let's do a short break. Let's do a short break. Probably check on our various devices and see if we could happen anything there. But viewers, this is it. We've been here discussing beautiful discussion of France and its woes. France has become the big center of protests in the world. Every day there's one or two protests going on in Paris, in Nantes, and different corners of France. But we'll come back. We'll come back. There are more stories to talk about France. Let's come back on the other side. So don't touch the dial. Stay with us.
Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve. In a world where news flies around every minute, you need the ability to relate and connect with what matters and stay up to date. Schengen Story Media News Echoes program is Africans in Diaspora and at Home's leading English news network, one of the most trusted, respected sources for news updates on current affairs as they affect global Africa.
And so when I hear not just our current president, but his aides, who have a history of calling political opponents vermin, enemies, who need to be targeted, that speaks to a broader problem that we have right now. And something that we're going to have to grapple with, all of us, whether we're Democrats, Republicans, independents. We have to recognize that on both sides, undoubtedly there are people who are extremists and who say things that are contrary to what I believe are America's core values. But I will say that those extreme views were not in my White House. I wasn't embracing them. I wasn't empowering them. I wasn't putting the weight of the United States government behind extremist views. And that is when we have the weight of the United States government behind extremist views, we've got a problem. And so your original question is, are we at an inflection point? We're at an inflection point in the sense that we always have to fight for our democracy. And we have to fight for those values that have made this country the envy of the world. And I often say democracy is not self-executing. It depends on us as citizens, regardless of our political affiliations, to stand up for certain core values, because otherwise we may not have them.
All right, viewers, you're welcome back to the second side of today's edition of SSM International Updates. I'm here with Rajiv Ogbeni Olayinka Raji from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm here with Dr. Godwin Ibe from Russia. I'm here with George Chukwu from Toronto, Canada. Gentlemen, that small interlude was Obama speaking. He was making a presentation during the week, and it's that situation in America where people now react, people now kill, they go for the kill because of opinion. Let's just talk a little about this. Does it matter what I say and my opinion? Does it really matter? And why should somebody kill me for it? George, I know you're back now. Tell us, are we in a time when opinions and your personal views on issues should warrant being killed, being, um, 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 uh, I mean, done harm to because of what I think?
Well, number one is
Mm-hmm.
this: I completely condemn the killing of that young man. It is unacceptable and it's intolerable. But what we have to understand also is this: the way your right stops, mine begin. You
Mm.
cannot. No, you have to understand this, okay? Because let the truth be told. There are some ways you can begin to malign people, bring them down. By the way, as we are talking, the family of the people of the young man who killed this Charles Kirk was actually Republican. They are Trump supporters.
Mm-hmm.
But
We heard so. Mm.
if I am free to come after you and speak against you, your religion, everything about you, malign you, it doesn't matter, simply because I feel like the government is behind me, then it becomes an issue to the civility of a nation. Yeah, I have freedom of speech, but also I have to be careful because the world at large, we are coexisting together. Now, what you saw there was, if you go to the US today, a lot of people are taking, impetus of doing things that you wouldn't hear in the past few years. They lynched a black man, two young black men, hung them on trees, broke their legs, and come to report that it was suicide. It just happened in Mississippi. This is exactly what you are seeing in a nation that is called democratic. You are seeing people, they cannot speak their mind anymore. If you are a news organization and you say something against the government, and I used to say this, unfortunately, fortunately, um, um, Mark Godwin Godwin Ibe is there. I used to say that Trump loves Putin for one reason. He loves President Xi for one reason. He loves Kim Jong Un for one reason, because of their dictatorial type of attitude. Like it or not, that's exactly what it is. And now
All
all of a
right.
sudden, he's embracing it,
Mm-hmm.
and he's
He's embracing
quiet
it.
the window, controlling everybody. If you talk about him, you're down. So that's what you're seeing today.
Okay. Thank you, George. George, good one. Yes, I asked that question also because of what you just said. Yeah. Also on Thursday, there's a man I follow on the ABC network in America, Jimmy Kimmel, and now he's been taken off air because of his comments. He made some comments in the last show. Godwin, freedom of speech is no more freedom of speech. We don't have. We are being gagged now, or our mouth now. Tell us, Russia and censorship. What's happening? A time when human beings cannot express themselves. Is that where we're heading to?
First of all, I would like to just thank Sir George for what he said, but just like to differ a little bit, if you allow me, if you let me.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, the Charlie Kirk's family is true they are Republicans, but both the killer himself, the parents, and everyone around him said he was radicalized to the left. So he had
Mm-hmm.
leftist ideologies when he carried out the
Mm-hmm.
killings. So it shouldn't be attributed to the right. I'm neither right nor left. I think it has to be clear to the viewers on what party lines he was towing when the crime was
Mm-hmm.
committed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, concerning, I can't speak about Trump
Censorship.
and
Mm-hmm.
his dictator. I think it's for the American people to say. But what I can say, me whose channel was deleted for doing absolutely nothing wrong, for fictitious claims, I can say there's much more censorship on the left than on the right. I can see this.
Okay.
A lot of people say, for example, now X is a cesspool of this, a cesspool of that. I think it's they're more they are. I agree that there are more hateful speech on the platform X than there were maybe under Jack Dorsey. I totally agree with that. But at least there's less censorship and there's more opportunities for people to express themselves. At least if that guy who shot Charlie Cook was expressing himself openly, there would have people who would have challenged his views, talked some sense into him, and maybe even alerted the authorities or law enforcement before that crime is committed. Yes, but he
Mm-hmm.
resorted, from what I heard, to secret Discord channels and closed channels where he was radicalized before carrying out these this
That crime.
operation, this crime.
Very, very
So
gruesome
I
crime.
would like to say we've talked about many countries, the instability in many countries. What I can say is every country, whether it's Iraq, Afghanistan, North Korea, they have their history, their culture, and we've on this panel once agreed that democracy cannot and does not suit everybody, or at least if
Mm.
the American version or the UK version of democracy cannot suit anybody. But what we
Everybody.
have to look at is what is the stability in the country, what's the history, the culture, are they able to run a sovereign state of millions of people? It's not easy without it collapsing. To balance your import, export, inflows, outflows, it isn't easy. Your social obligations, isn't easy. And I can say that Russia, for example, is relatively stable even in the midst of a military conflict with Ukraine. It's not begging for bread. With sanctions with little to no effect, it's been able to build up an economy that is like a firewall to the Western attempts to bring it to his knees. That cannot be possible if there wasn't hard work done behind the scenes by those in power to secure the economy from those shocks and effects. So you from the outside, you may say it's autocratic or it doesn't fit your version of democracy, but from the inside, we can say in Russia that our President Putin has very high approval rating. It's not challenged, it's not questioned, and everyone
All
toes
right.
according to the party lines in Russia.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you very much. Good
yeah,
update.
I have to,
I want to come
I have to
to
report.
I want to come to
Let me just
Raji.
say something. Let me say something
Okay.
quickly.
Okay.
It's almost
Mm-hmm.
like telling us now that most news organizations in America, they are, everybody is being careful what they say, because if you say it's
Yes.
gonna be, you're in trouble. So don't say
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, there is no challenges to Putin. Putin actually put the fear of Putin on a lot of people, and that is the reason why there is no challenges. Because if you come up to challenge him, you're dead, or something happens to you. We stand
I
that
didn't
hard.
actually
So
say there were no challenges. Those are not my
no, no, no.
words.
What I'm saying is this: everybody will agree with such leadership, because if you come out and say something, you can be in your room and be complaining, but you can't come out and say it openly, or you can't even say it to your neighbor, because your neighbor will report you, and then all of a sudden we're fishing you. You're under the sea. So what I'm saying is this: I do understand, and I'll give it to Putin. He's done a marvelous work when it comes to the economy of Russia, and how he's been able to cushion himself and put a safety valve where the Western economy is not affecting them anymore. He's done a marvelous work, and it's a masterful work that he's done. But the fact of the matter is, him being unchallenged is simply because of the kind of act and what we have seen happen there so many times. And it's
Okay.
trickling down to Nigeria. It's trickling down to
Yes.
Nigeria.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was coming to Raji on that.
Let me
Raji,
just add something
censorship.
before Raji comes in, just very quickly.
Okay. Okay.
I respect your opinion about you saying he has this autocratic terrorism or whatever. But let me if you look at the indicators, the amount of killings, the amount of violence, the amount of homeless people on the street, it's nowhere compared to Russia. In Russia, there's basically very few homeless people. There are very few. If there was these things happening in Russia, the West would be so happy to report. You won't even need to wait for me to tell you.
That's
The West will
true.
carry it
That's
all
true.
over because it's such a fantastic
Yes.
news for them.
News.
You don't see
That's
because it
true.
doesn't exist. When you look at the indicators of an economy, of a stable economy, you look at the crime, you look at the homelessness, you look at the joblessness, you find out that okay, your democracy is probably not working well. It's not working well, and you want to apply it in a country that has a totally different history, culture. It will even be worse than what it is. So I'm just trying to say you might have a view, a one-sided view from your perspective of how things should be and how things should. But when you look at indicators, just indicators of what a country should be, you find out that I've met a lot of people who says, who even came from United States recently, or who talk about how scared they are about, winding down their glass when driving. I don't know how true it is, but I'm just telling you, as a black driving car, winding down your glass when they come to check up. Here in Russia, if a police stops me while driving, I will wind down to the end. I will be engaging in conversation so gleefully and happily. In fact, we will talk about Nigeria at the Olympics sometimes. It's you can't hear this like I don't understand. So you have to understand that there
I
are
like
different
that.
aspects. But
All right.
when you
Thank
look
you.
at the
Thank you,
indicators,
Godwin.
it's different.
Yes, interesting talk there. Raji, yes, I was coming to you earlier with that talk of censorship, because we see what Showere is going through. Showere is taking the federal government to court, or he has taken them to court. He's taking Meth X to court. He's taking everybody because his tweets are being censored and all that. So, how is censorship in Nigeria? How is it affecting people? Or people don't realize that. Go ahead, Raji.
First, let me say something
Okay.
about the U.S. and Russia. You see, the signal in any situation, I look at the signal to noise ratio. The signal to noise ratio in America is so cacophonic that you hardly can make sense out of the situation in America. Signal to noise ratio in Russia is is the signal to noise ratio is much higher for the signal in Russia than it is in America. There's too much noise in America. Now, coming to censorship, people have all been attacked or killed because of the opinion they hold, they speak out, or the opinion of the shooter to their opinion, to his own understanding of the opinion of the person who had an opinion, who spoke out an opinion. The first time I really noticed Charles Kirk was when he
Oh yeah, we need to hear this, so Raji.
in Gaza, considering the fact that if a fly should fly between Gaza and Israel, so his first attempt is his first opinion or observation of what happened on October 7th was when he mentioned that he is surprised that October 7th could have happened in Israel, considering the fact that if a fly flew from Gaza into Israel, it would be noticed. Therefore, he's sure, very, very sure that yes, the October 7th event was allowed to happen. And I'm sure in the few weeks before he was assassinated, his opinion about Israeli influence on the American government was becoming very, very, very clear to all that, look, it seems as if Israel is controlling America. And for that opinion, I'm sure he was assassinated. Coming to our country, when a government is failing, it becomes very, very sensitive to criticisms, whether
Mm-hmm.
constructive or otherwise. And I can see
Mm-hmm.
that in the present government today. The government is not doing well. So every opinion, what most of what government is doing is on propaganda. So when you have a different opinion to their propaganda, you are most likely going to be targeted and be censored by whichever way they could.
Okay.
Showore has been very, 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 very strong in his opinion and his criticism of the government because obviously the government is not doing well, and therefore the government will
Okay.
want to clamp down on any contrary
On
opinion
him.
to whatever they think
Okay.
should be said in the country.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Pity.
Thank you.
The government has to
One
get
local
their
news
act and
before
listen
we
to
begin
opinion.
to
Yes.
yes. Thank you, Rory. Thank you. Let's do one Nigerian news before we go to the last of topic today. We heard that federal government has disbursed 330 billion naira to poor household under a cash transfer scheme. Raji, is that true? We lost Raji there. Okay, we had that during the week yesterday that they've been giving money to poor household. George, did you hear that?
Yeah,
Godwin, did you hear that
yeah.
news? Is that true?
I heard that the National Social Safety Net program has reported a significant surge. Now
Mm-hmm.
covering more than 8.1 million household across the country, reaching more citizens. The data shows the program has achieved about 54% of beneficiary
Mm-hmm.
coverage rate. Bringing critical support to millions. Okay, rapid
Mm-hmm.
growth a spike. A remarkable 2.2 million new households were registered in just 2 months period between June and August 2025. So what we're
Okay.
seeing is, it's almost like a welfare type of system. But the question that we need
Okay.
to ask also is this all across the board? Because this particular situation that is happening to Nigerians is happening all over. It's happening in the southeast, southwest, south, all over the place. So we need to really check and make sure that the people in certain areas are also being, included in this whole thing. So yeah, it's about 8.1 or another one reported 8.5 million people. They have received about $25,000. Some have received it 3 times already. Some are receiving it for the first time, which is a very positive move, which can, if kind of fuel the economy, because people are able to now buy, goods and all that kind of stuff. But the question is, when it's being done, let's make sure that it's a blanket thing that is happening all across the board, because you can't take a section of people and then begin to help them out while others are still dying. So that's all that I want to
Thank
say.
you.
But congratulations to
Very
the
good one,
government.
George. Yes, but let's hear from the man on ground. Raji, is it true that the federal government is doing this cash transfer scheme and it has done to 8.5 million people, million Nigerians? Wale Edu was saying this yesterday. Raji, tell us. The Minister of Finance, that's the Minister of Finance and coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edu. He revealed this information yesterday. Raji, we're still to hear from you. I think we lost Raji there. So that's Wale Edu. George, let's take it that he has said what he has said. Godwin, do you have any story, anything on that? Do you have you heard anybody from Nigeria say they've received? Mhm.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the governor for being thoughtful and remembering the poor. It's a positive step, and we should commend it without any
Mhm.
but. My hope is that it gets to everyone, and
Everyone.
the fact of the matter is we are just beginning digitalization of Nigerian identity with the national identification number, BVN, and all those
Mhm.
various
Mhm.
digitalization platforms. but there's still room for duplication, a lot of errors in the
Yeah.
system. Um,
Mhm.
we have to ensure that people don't have multiple identities, or people aren't included that should have been included. And then the criteria for assessing who is poor. What do you mean by poor? In an economy
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
income isn't legal, or isn't most of the economy is in the gray market, um, and you may not actually be able to ascertain who is poor and who is not poor. Just because you do
Who's
not
not
get a
poor?
banking transaction does not mean the person isn't conducting business outside of the bank.
Okay. 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 Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good one. Raji, we were waiting to hear from you. Is it true all we have heard? All we're
Yeah.
yes.
All I want to say is that be very, very
Mm-hmm.
careful. Be very, very careful. Be very, very wary for the person who gives you fish instead of uh, helping you to learn how to fish. Be very, very, very careful. This kind of economics of uh, giving so-called poor people money, I don't think is good. I think it only worsens the state of the people and make them dependent. I think it softens their mind and makes them dependent. Be careful and be very, very wary of the man who gives you fish on a daily basis instead of teaching you
Okay.
how to fish.
Okay.
Okay.
By the
Viewers,
way,
Let me add
by the way,
something. Let
this
me
is
add something.
this is interesting thing
George,
about this network. We have diverse views, diverse
yeah,
opinion,
I want to
and
just add something to
we're
what
wrong. We
Raji
take
said.
it.
You know,
let
I
Godwin,
Okay.
naturally
let
I will agree.
Dr. Godwin go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Naturally, I will agree with what Raji said, but considering the suffering in the economy, I don't know. Like, you're there. I mean, I'm seeing it. I'm hearing it. Considering the suffering in the economy, sometimes when you're learning how to fish, you'll be chopping some small fishlings while you're learning the trade.
That's
You
right.
will not go to be learning the fishing on empty stomach. Otherwise, what the person is saying, you might not be assimilating
That's
it.
it. That's it.
So
That's
Mm.
it.
I
That's
I
it.
agree
That's it.
with the. But when the level of suffering gets to the point where you can not assimilate anything, including the fishing lessons, then probably you need some little fishlings to be chopping while the lesson
That's
is
right.
going on.
By the way, I did not welcome you. I was having some technical issues. It's such a pleasure having you, Dr. Godwin Ibe.
Thank you, thank you.
Such a pleasure. You don't even understand. My heart leaped with joy, but I couldn't talk because my system was going down. It's good to have you here, and we really enjoy your presence. If you can continue, that would be amazing. It will, take us to another level also. I really appreciate you. I hope your family is fine.
God has been faithful.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's good to have you.
Nice.
It's good to have you.
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Good one.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
George.
thank you.
All right, guys, let's cop up with this one. Interesting. Some people might say it's a story that doesn't really need to be addressed, but everything matters these days. Don't downplay on anything. Everything matters. It's a young lady. We all know, those of us that followed news. Godwin, I know you know her. George obviously knows her. She's called Candace Owens. Candace Owens has been speaking. She's so outspoken. She speaks. She talks on everything. Um, but somehow, anyway, she is on the right side too. She's a right wing influencer. So she's been making this statement about the wife of Macron, the president of France. Now, because it's becoming very, very weighty, very strong talk, discussion, Macron and the family have decided to offer scientific evidence to the US court
It's
to
an
prove
officer.
that the wife, Bridget, is a woman. So, gentlemen, let's talk about George. We'll start with you. You are there. You're close to all of this. What is Owens? What's she trying to prove? What's her
Uh, unfor-
evidence?
unfortunate,
Mhm.
Unfortunately, when you meet people that are bipolar, I hate to discuss issues pertaining to them, and because there are some people that are, they have beings that are living inside of them. When these beings are talking, you don't know what to do about that. So But when it comes to Lady Bridget Macron, coming out to bring some scientific proof that she's a woman. Maybe because the court is demanding it, but it's almost I don't know how to describe the fact that you trying to tell me that I'm a woman and I'm saying that I'm a man and I got the equipment to prove that I'm a man, and then I have to go and bring scientific proof to say that I'm a man. I think it's a waste for her to even go to that point to begin to answer such people. I mean, there are some people that we don't even need to discuss in this forum because this is an important forum. And Candice Owens is not a person that I think is worthy of our attention or time or effort. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, the thing is, George, it's a serious issue here in Europe, Western Europe precisely. Every network is following the story because she came out really blunt on the topic. Russia, Godwin. I know you know her. I know you know Candice Owens. She came out really strong. She was saying it with all permission, like she knows her from.
George has a different opinion, a difference of opinion with Candice Owens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Raji. So, what's your own opinion? Okay, Raji is not. Yeah, Godwin. I was actually talking. Yeah, Godwin, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would say while I respect Candice Owens' views, I also respect the privacy of the French president and his wife. I do not want to stoop to let me not call it stupid. I don't want to go down that route of commenting on what is in the pants of another individual or what they have done that is not substantiated in court. I don't think I'm really, really genuinely not interested.
Thank you.
Really think that whoever she is, whatever she is, I wish her well, and I hope she's doing her job in helping the French president, and I hope that the French president can listen to his people so there's less violence, and the French people can move forward. I also look forward to more French cooperation with Russia, and how we can work together for the upliftment of Russian citizens, Nigerian citizens, and French citizens. That is my only concern.
That's your own goal. All right then. Anyway, we said we'll crop it up with
As
this.
a matter of fact,
Gentlemen,
she might end up paying a lot of money, damages. She might end up paying a lot of money in damages after the court case is over, and that will teach her a good lesson.
Yeah, she has
Okay.
a very rich husband as
Let's go home now, gentlemen. Any last words for today? Godwin, anything you have? Any?
Yes, my last words for today's show is I pray for peace and cooperation. I hope the world will return to diplomacy and not division, and especially along the eastern and western lines. I've been to many countries, both the east and the west, and all of them are really good. For example, I enjoyed being in Italy, where you are, Milan. I enjoyed being in the United States. I enjoyed being in Russia, in many African countries, including Nigeria. We all have that thing that we could teach another person, we could learn from each other. So I hope that we return back to international diplomacy.
Powerful. Georgie.
Well, my main interest is, I just wish the world, like what Godwin said, peace. And I pray for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and especially with this little token that they're doing to the poor people. While they do, please make sure that there is a blanket equal ground where these things are being shared, because there are some people in the southeast also that are suffering, and the south and southwest. So let's make sure that there is a ground level of application of all these things, and let's make sure, like Godwin was saying, that we are not duplicating efforts, because there are some people who might have opportunity to fill out these forms and get this money and they don't need it. Let's make sure that the money is going to the right people. May God bless our president. granting the wisdom to lead the nation to where we're supposed to be, and may there be peace all across Nigeria and around the world.
Wow, gentlemen, you have done it. Godwin, we truly welcome you back. We're glad to have you. George, you're wonderful. Your early mornings to be here.
You make me so excited. I can't wait for next week, honestly speaking. I love it. All
right, guys, let's go home and have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Viewers,
all right,
do have a beautiful weekend too. God bless us, keep us all till we come again next week. Bye-bye.
Looking for the right answers to hard and sometimes confusing global events? Look no further. SSM's team brings unique perspectives from across the globe. Our in-depth independent reporting is to make you better understand the world as we evolve.